Today we are going to discuss the issues of social media addiction among adolescents and how excessive use of social media may affect teenagers' mental health, daily life, and development. Social media addiction is an increasing issue among adolescents aged 10 to 19. Adolescence is a key stage for identity formation, information regulation, and social development. At the same time, platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat have become a part of teens' daily routines. Social media addiction occurs when adolescents cannot control their use and feeling anxious or uncomfortable without a size. Excessive use can disrupt daily life, leading to poor academic performance, sleep problems, weakened relationships, and disabling emotional well-being. Recent reports show that problematic social media use among adolescents is rising worldwide, making it a significant development concern. From a developmental perspective, heavy social media use can interfere with healthy growth. During Erickson identity was through confusion stage, a reliance on online feedback may lead to unstable self-image. Constant stimulation and frequent notifications may weaken attention and self-control, which are still developing during the adolescence. In everyday life, social media addiction is linked to anxiety, low mood, and long nights. Late night use often reduce sleep quality, which affects mood and attention at school. Excessive online interaction can also reduce face-to-face communication and increase fear of missing out, leaving adolescents socially connected online but emotionally disconnected offline.
Overview of theoretical foundations. Key points. Erickson, identity development, attachment zero, emotional security and relationships. Vygotsky, social interaction and connective development. Erickson, identity vs role confusion. Teens explore identity by trying different roles. Supportive environment. Stable identity. Attachment zero. Early attachment affects independence and emotional regulation. Secure attachment. Better emotional and social functioning. Vygotsky connective development occurs through social interaction. MKO supports learning. Social dialogue becomes self-regulation. This about theoretical applications. First, social media and identity formation. Social media offers a space to try different roles. Over focus on likes or comments may cause confusion. Second, social media education and emotion regulation. Insecure attachment, poor emotional regulation, higher tendency to rely on social media for quick emotional feedback. Education cycle, negative emotion, the next use, the next relief, and the next more dependence. Third, connective impact of social media. Social interaction promotes learning. For example, ZPD, peers, positive, access to knowledge and skill content. Negative, for fragmented info, weakens deep thinking. This part about interview question design. We have four questions. 1. Why are teenagers particularly prone to social media dependence from a developmental psychology perspective? 2. Can the sense of belonging in various communities genuinely compensate for the lack of real-life social interaction among teenagers? 3. Erickson emphasizes identity exploration in adolescence. Does social media help or hinder this process? 4. Have you encountered cases where adolescent development was hindered by social media education? Could you share one? There are all questions.
I will talk about the expert interview in sense sharing the deep logic and development implications of teenagers' reliance on social media. Expert interview in sets about Dr. Susanna, the developmental psychological logic of teenagers' social media dependence. The first point is about peer connection needs, while the social silos. After the pandemic, social media has become a standard feature for teenagers to socialize. Those without accounts are prone to being marginalized due to a lack of common topics, generating like anxiety which drives them to actively integrate into the platform. The second is about self-identity exploration, pursuing a sense of virtual value. By leveraging the platform's idealized display, filter beautifications, carefully selected highlights, create a personal image. Through the attention and the recognition for peers, gain a short-term sense of value and strengthen dependence. The third point is about dual, dual, dual dual psychological machines, formal and fiber behavioral. Formal is mean fear of missing out, worry about missing out one partner's updates, and frequently browsing the platform. And the fabbing it means they use their mobile phones to isolate themselves from the pressure of real social interactions and gain a sense of being needed from virtual messages. And this part is about expert interpretation, the double-edged sword. Effect of social media on teenagers' development. The first point is about positive value, uh, low cost space for identity exploration. Social media provide a self-experimentation platform with low trial and error costs. Through sharing different exploration styles and interests, one can find recognize identity tags and complete an initial self-awareness. Second, about negative limitations, hindering the development of practical abilities. Social skills declined. Lack of three-dimensional information such as body language and expressions for face-to-face communication, resulting in a dual personality of being active online and slater offline. Incomplete identification exploration. Virtual exploration is based on carefully craft, crafted image, detached from real setbacks and practice, and unable to recognize the boundaries of the self in reality. The gap between the virtual and the real is widening. The disparity between the perfect online person and the ordinary reality makes teenagers addicted to virtual recognition, cutting off the connection between reality and the virtual.
Young people literally want to try out different roles from meaningful connections and get feedback as they grow up. Social media fits their needs well in letting explore various identities, join in easily, and receive plenty of quick response. In interviews, teams often say they use social media because they don't want to be left out and because they are figuring out who they are. This reflects their strong desire for peer acceptance and their search for a sense of self. Although social media could in theory be a space for trying out new identity, many teams feel that their exploration online is limited and not quite real. The person that present is often carefully crafted and can feel disconnected from who they truly are. Virtual interaction lack nonverbal cues and immediate emotion feedback present in face-to-face communication, making it difficult to replace the emotion depth of real-life social interaction. Additionally, what we often call social media education tends to play out in two familiar ways. Constantly checking phones even when with others, sometimes called popping, and the anxious fear of missing out on what happens online. Together, this can create a pattern where someone is highly engaged digitally but withdrawn or quite in person. Research in psychologic supports the idea that teams who feel less circles in their close relationships may be more vulnerable to developing this kind of habits. For many teenagers, social media isn't just a tool, it actually shapes how they socialize, how they feel, and even how they think. This fluence has both upsides and downsides. On the positive side, it can help them stay loosely connected with acquaintances, assist news and interest quickly, and explores ways to impress who they are. On the negative side, heavy use can sometimes get in the way of developing face to face social skills, lead to confusion about their identity or self worth, and negatively affect both their schoolwork and their emotional well-being. This research looks at how teams grow and change, and combining insights from both theory and the real conversations with young people takes a close look at why they get so drawn into social media, how that shows up in their behavior, and what it means for their development. What we see is that teens' heavy use of social media isn't random. It often connects to real needs and their age, while also being encouraged by the way social media apps are designed and by what's happening around the socially. When this turns into something more like an addiction, it doesn't just affect their mood or schoolwork. It can also get in the way of figuring out who they are and learning how to navigate real life relationship. For families and schools, let's talk more with young people about how to use social media in a balanced way. Maybe set some screen free time together at home and remind them that a lot of what they see online is polished version of life, not the whole story. More importantly, them encourage them to join real world activities, whatever whether it's sports, art, or just hanging out with friends. That face-to-face moment help them build the confidence and the skills to connect with others in person. To social media platform, we hope apps can be more fruitful toward young user. Could the design be less endless and let people source scroll without getting hooked? Could notifications be less frequent so there's room to breathe? Platform could also promote more warm and meaningful content and gently remind user once in a while. Take a little break, look up from your screen and check in with yourself. Looking ahead here, what we might explore. What if we follow a group of teams over several years to see how social media quietly shape their friendship, their sense of self, and their well-being over time? That could tell us more than a one-time serve. And because cultures around the world are so different, the way young people use the feel about social media surely wires too. Two, understanding those differences could help us find better ways to support kids everywhere.